goes. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we're working on the Module 3 lab. I'm going to read through the description here, and then we're going to get into coding this collectively. It says, you've been asked to write a program for a travel website to help users determine which international cell phone package they should purchase. There are three packages: the Big Day Pass, the Tourist Pass, and the Adventurer Pass. The Big Day Pass is $10 per day with unlimited minutes. The Tourist Pass is 20 cents per minute, and the Adventurer Pass is $3 per day and 10 cents per minute. All right, it says the program should ask the user how many days they will be traveling and how many minutes per day they expect to use their phone. The output should include the cost for each plan and a recommendation for the least expensive plan based on their usage. Format all currency to 2 decimal places. The program should use at least one local function effectively. And there is a sample program run here, right? So after you code it all, it should kind of look like this. How many days will you be traveling? Okay, 5. How many minutes per day will you use your phone? You can make a guess on that. And then they give you the cost of all three based on what you input. And then it'll give you a recommendation, which is the best one. And which is the best one? The one that costs the least but meets all your needs, right? Okay, so that's our example. And I think probably a good place to start here is just to create a new program. So I do have the examples that we were doing during the lecture open here. So I'm closing that solution. And I am going to go ahead and create a new project here. And we'll do all our typical things. I will name this Module 3 Lab. Go ahead and create it, and I will blow away all the default statements. All right. What you might want to do, and I'm just going to kind of get us started here, is you might want to label it Module 3 Lab if that's helpful for you. And I know some of you have been taking the instructions and pasting them in. I would suggest maybe with this one, oh gosh, we could probably grab this much of it just to have as reference. So I'm going to do the CSS style block stuff here, and I'm just going to do it like that. So we have the info there. All right. Here's a couple of questions we should start with, right? One, think about the major tasks that we need to do in this program, right? One is we have to ask the user some information, right? So we're going to have to ask them, well, it says right here, the program should ask the user how many days they will be traveling and how many minutes per day they expect to use their phone. And that's 2 questions, right? And then we're going to capture that information and save it. Okay. Could we create this as a function? Well, what do you think? Feel free to speak freely. I'm going to say, yes, it could be a function. Yes. Could be a function. Okay. Okay, if it's a function, what would we call it? Just that sentence.
Number of days.
All right, but they're going to be number of days and how many minutes. So maybe, and really, I'll have you think about it like this. What are we doing here? We're asking the user for input, right? Could we maybe call, and this is just a suggestion. Could we maybe call it get user and that's what I named it last time, by the way, is get user input. Right. You guys see where I'm kind of going with this? I'm looking at what we're told to do, and the collection of tasks can be grouped together into a function. That's kind of the point. All right. So the output should include the cost for each plan and a recommendation for the least expensive plan based on their usage. I also, well, all right. So I kind of look at it. This is how I would break it down. I might even go as far as doing that. So what I'm kind of doing here is I see this as a function where we just get their input. The output should include the cost for each plan. So we might want to calculate the cost, right? Okay, so that would be okay. The output should include the cost for each plan. And so if you look at like this, it would tell you what the cost for each one is and display it. So maybe we could create something called calculate pass. To do those tasks. And basically what that would do is just create these three lines here, you know. So it would do the math and put that on the screen. And then we have another one, right? Basically, which would be, and I see this as a separate task, right? Recommendation for the least expensive plan based on their usage. So this, and I don't know what we want to call it, recommendation. Better, you guys coming up with a better name? And I'm not using Pascal casing, am I? That should really be a capital. That should be a capital.
You can go with plan. I mean, it is based off the plan or the usage.
Okay, so we should just call it plan, or like maybe plan choice or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah,
And
plan
choice
choice.
sounds good.
Yeah, plan choice sounds good to me too. All right. And see, notice how I'm naming them in advance, even though I'm not coding them. You know, we did have an example in our code to format all currency to 2 decimal places, but you know what? We can do that right in place. So I don't know that I would write a function for that, but we could, right? So that's a possibility, but I think I'm just going to do that in place. The program should use at least one local function effectively. We're going to have, look, right now we're shooting for 3. Okay. So we'll engineer each one of these. And I think maybe the easiest one to create, and think about this, is maybe this first one, the get user input. Let's get rid of that question mark. And all right. Let's think about the program would start, and we'll put those 2 prompts on the screen. Those are the 2 user input things. So I can proceed in basically a couple of different ways, right? If I'm getting input from the user, does this need to return values? Okay, so I have one
Not
person
right away.
nodding, one person nodding, one person shaking.
Eventually it needs to, but not instantly.
Yeah, not
Maybe.
instantly. Another approach that we can use, and this is kind of a scope thing, is when they enter in how many, what is it, minutes and how many days, we could make those variables global or we can capture them in a function and return them to the global level to be used elsewhere. All of those are possibilities. I'm not really sure what's best. You can code this really a few different ways, and that's part of the fun of this, right? Is there's no real clear-cut approach. So here's a recommendation, right? We could just declare a couple variables, right, for days and minutes. Then I could call this function, right, which doesn't exist, by the way. And this is really weird. Visual Studio knows it doesn't exist. So that's why it's red. And it says, the name get user input does not exist in the current context. Show potential fixes. Generate method get user input. What do you guys think? Should I click on that? Yeah, why not? Right. And I want you to like not buck the tool, in other words, because this is actually an approach in Visual Studio, and Visual Studio programmers do this all the time, right? When they work in this environment, they don't like define the function first and then use it. They often come up with a name first and then use the tool to auto generate it, so they don't have to hit the curly brackets and all that stuff, right? Notice it does throw in this message that keeps it from crashing because we don't have any code in here, but we want to put code in there. And what code will we put in here?
How many days how many days and minutes?
Right. Okay, James. But so we want to write the prompts basically,
Mhm.
right? Why don't you guys coach me? What should the first prompt be?
Console right.
Console.write. What am I asking them to do? Well, we have an example, right? Should
many
say, how
days?
many days will you be traveling? Good. Then we want to capture that, right? Okay. What are we capturing it in? Days?
Sure.
And coach me.
Equals. We just did this.
I know we did.
Convert to int 32 and then a console read line.
All right. Now notice this is weird, but the variables are declared up here, right? We're populating them inside the function. Is that okay? It's not underlining red. Sam's shaking his head.
I don't
It's
know.
actually fine. So the function can access stuff outside of itself, but the stuff outside of it can't access the stuff inside. So if I declared a variable inside here, outside of this block of code, I couldn't access it. But the other way works. And that wasn't
So
really part of the slideshow.
Is this what
it'll
we're-
push out to the global then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was very confused starting off because I guess me personally, I wouldn't have did the first questions as a function. I would have just asked for the inputs and then did the maths as a function.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, the directive says you only need to use one function. What I'm going to show you, I think, is that you can really have more than one function here. Right. And you'll see the advantage of it. This we should change to what? Minutes.
Yes.
So the one is asking for the days, the other for the minutes. All right. This isn't returning anything. We're just populating the variables up here. So our first task right, is to get the user input, right? Whatever that involves. But from the high level, right? And this is the high level of the program. Okay, what do we do first? Well, we getting the user input. What does that look like? Okay, go down here and do that. Then what do we do? Well, maybe we follow the stream up here. Calculate the cost for each plan and put that on the screen. And we were going to call that calc pass, correct? And
Yeah.
does that need, okay, here's the question. Okay, so basically that would be this part. Does this need to return anything at this point? If we're just putting that info on the screen, do we need to return a value? Now, you guys are really thinking on it pretty hard, right? Yeah, you should. Because in principle, yeah. But once again, if I'm calculating, okay, what am I calculating? Big day, tourist, and adventurer pass, right? Could I do this? Could I set up 3 variables on the global level and then set those variables from within the function? Sure, I can do that. Another approach would be to, and I want you to think about how complicated it would be, that I could calculate each one separately in a separate function, send the return value back to a variable that I would have to store and then reuse to make the recommendation. By doing it this way, I'm saving that step. I'm just kind of declaring them all at once. They're going to get populated in the function. And so here's kind of like the approach, right? So I'm going to kind of put in some comments here. Global variables. These are accessible from all functions. From there, we're going to steer the program. So I'm going to say function calls to steer the program. First, we get the user input. Next, what do we call it? Calc pass. Right? Calc pass. Right? And I'm going to use that trick again where I'm going to show potential fixes and just generate the method. And I put it here. Now, I would probably actually move it down here. I like to have them in order, but you don't have to. It doesn't matter. And then what would this one look like? What are the calculations we need to do? And I'm going to call this do the math, AKA processing. We were given the formulas, right up here. $10 per day, unlimited minutes. So if we have one called Big Day Pass, how do we calculate that?
Days times minutes times the rate, which is, oh, this is just $10 per day. So we just bring the days in.
All right. And then we multiply that times what? 10?
Yeah,
Isn't that what it
$10.
said, 10?
Yep, $10 per day.
And Big Day Pass is a double, right? Yeah, it's a double. So should we make that a double? Sure, why not? No harm done. Is there a reason we should put the decimal places there?
To ensure that it is a double.
Yeah, to ensure. I mean, it truly, we could multiply 2 integers and store it in a double. It would work because that's a widening conversion. C# does allow for it. In fact, if you want to test it, here's how you test it. Just do this. It's not underlining. It's throwing up the question mark though. But yeah, I would ensure it by just doing that. That's kind of silly, but you can do that. All right, so that's the one calculation. So if that's the one calculation, how do we do this one? Tourist pass.
Would be minutes times 20.
That's just 20 cents a minute. Minutes times 20. Oh, but it's 20 cents a minute, right?
So point, yeah, point or 0 point.
Yeah, and you know, if you want to put it in currency format, that's fine.
And the number of days.
Oh yeah, right. Because that includes a day calculation. No, it's just 20 cents a minute.
Yeah, but don't we want the total cost?
Okay, because because it's 20 cents a minute.
But we're using
Yeah, no, you're right.
X
You're right.
minutes for this
Because
many
then it's
days.
gonna be how many minutes a day are you going to talk? 20. How many days are you using the phone? So that's it.
Then-
Yeah, you're right. It's important.
You look at your total travel cost.
Right. Okay. So if we got that one there, then we got to do adventurer pass. And what's that one look like? It says $3 per day and 10 cents per minute. Okay, what's my formula? Days times.
Parentheses, days.
Okay, you're saying parentheses. Okay, parentheses, days.
Times 3.00 plus the minutes times days times rate.
Yeah, what's the cost per minute for this one?
10 cents per minute. 10 cents per minute. Yeah, it'd still be days times minutes times 10 cents.
And times days. Yeah, I agree. Right, that would be the right calculation. And you know what? I mean, you have to think about this, right? Because all right, so it's $3 a day. And once again, we're going for the total cost. So if they talk 20 minutes a day, but then we still have to multiply it by the days and then add those two together. So I agree with this formula. This is right. All right. And then once we've calculated this, we can do this part. We can put this stuff on the screen, this whole block. So we would, and I'm just going to do this in the form of comments, output the costs of each. All right. These are just right line statements, right? Nod and
Yes.
smile.
Console right line.
Console right line. We'll string interpolate all of these. And so sometimes I kind of get lazy and do stuff like this, right? It's not lazy. I think maybe it's clever. At least I think it's clever. I'm going to be typing that a few times. Let's just get them ready. And I could use the verbiage that they have there. And I think it's like the big day pass. Would cost you. And we just put that variable up there, right? And we want to format that as currency. How do we format that as currency? Google, help.
We cast
Chat,
it.
you save me. I'm gonna let you guys look that one up. We've done it before.
The question mark?
It's like percent to percent or something like that.
Well, there's a couple different approaches. Now we can put the
colon C.
just this little letter C here.
Capital C?
All right.
It's
Could I-
case sensitive.
Yeah, could I suggest something? We just run this and see what happens?
Yes.
All right, I like your bravery there. Will this even run? Well, I guess it's running. Okay.
There's no
One
errors
day-
yet.
And I'm talking 10 cents, 10 minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah,
I think it looks all right.
It looks good.
Yeah, looks good.
we
All
did
right.
it. We aced it.
All right. So if we got to do that one, then the tourist pass. Well, I guess I got to type it all up. The tourist pass would cost you right? And then this one would be the adventurer. Okay. All right. All right. All right, let's do this. We're just trying this part of it. So it's not making a decision. All right, 3 days. And let's say I talk 35 minutes per day. Right. We would probably want to check those calculations. All right, but it seems to be working. And I'm looking at the number I typed in and trying to figure out the calculation. Yeah, it seems like it's right. All right. So we got the get user input. I show you guys the pattern here. This is input. This is processing and some output. And then we have the recommendation part, which we haven't built yet, right? So what do we decide to call that one? Plan choice. All right, so plan choice. Oops, choice. It's getting British there for a second. And I'll say more processing and final output. So then you see like the main program body is now just 2 variable declarations, well, 5, and 3 function calls. But we have to write this other function. And what do we call it? Plan choice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do our curlies. And then, all right, let's see what the sample output looks like. You should purchase the, all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start with the console write statement. You should purchase the space. I didn't need that. Yeah, I probably should have the space in there. Semicolon. And then the subsequent statements can fill in the rest of the right. Now, to figure out which plan is the best choice, how do we do that?
If then. maybe.
Does everybody
Yes.
agree? If then,
Mm,
okay. Now, Sam, you're thinking about it.
well, we need a. It could work.
Okay. All right. So, for example, I'm just going to start writing an if statement. So, and think about this. It should be if, else if, else, probably, right? Because we have three choices. So, how would we determine if we would use, what's the first one? The big day pass.
If big day pass is less than,
Then you're equal to.
Okay. So, I'm hearing an equal. Who said equal to? Okay. Less than or equal to?
bail.
I'd say
Oh, okay. Less than or equal to what? 0?
The next one, tourist pass.
Okay.
And
and the double and.
Okay. And I
big
got
day
to do that
pass.
inside the parentheses. Double and. Keep coaching me.
Tourist pass. Would it be?
Oops. Sorry.
And big day pass or an adventure pass? Or would be
Adventure.
less than or equal to adventure?
Okay. I'm kind of losing my flow here. So you want me to check the tourist pass to see if it's less than?
Or equal to adventure?
Okay. All right, do you think this is good logic? Which one are we trying to figure out here?
If big day pass wins.
Okay.
Uh,
Shouldn't the
if big day
second statement
passes,
also check big day pass?
yeah. If
Yeah,
big day
so
pass is less than tourist pass and big day pass is less than adventure pass,
Yeah, so
then
yeah.
Couldn't we do a variable and say big day or lowest, a variable for lowest? And say
we could do, so in other words, we could figure out, like, set up a message, basically figure out which one is the lowest and then just print out the lowest one. But could, like, if this statement is true, if the big day pass is less than or equal to each one of these, wouldn't we just take the big day pass?
yeah.
Yeah. So, and then could we just do, would we
if
just say it?
tourist pass is less than big day pass and tourist pass is less than adventure pass, then we do tourist pass. Else we do adventure pass.
Okay, you're stepping ahead, Sam. I'm just trying to get the output message here.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then I'm gonna put in the cost, because I think they had that in there, right?
Yeah, the total cost.
Is that how they said it? No, they just, okay, so we just repeat the amount. Right, the big, so to say you should purchase the, and this will finish the line, big day pass for that much money. Oh, I forgot the parenthesis again. There we go. Right, then what's next? Check another condition. Which one are we checking? What's next? Tourist pass? And what do you guys think about the less than or equal to thing? Is that okay? Because it might be equal. I mean, that's, I'm sure. What would that need to be less than?
Big day pass
Okay.
and tourist pass less than or equal to adventure pass.
Notice how it put in the one curly bracket for me. But it is missing the other. So I'm closing it manually. And then we'll just repeat this, right?
I don't think this is important, but what do you do if it's equal?
Then it's a fine choice because it costs the same amount of money, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
This accommodates for that though. What are the chances that they'll all be the same price?
No, oh, that's a good. I meant like if two of the three of them have the same number.
Well, if two or three of them have the same number, it would still work. You know, so for let's say Big Day Pass and Tourist Pass are the same. It's unlikely these two would be the same. So that would be two of the three of them are the same. But if this one's still less than that one, then it's all true. So it would work. So like it, you know, when we did this last year, we didn't do equals. People didn't coach me on that. So let's find out if it works. The worst thing that's going to happen is it doesn't work. Right? You see where that's going? That's kind of the point. So, all right, is this one okay? But we want to change the words, right? This should say what?
Tourists pass
Tourists.
or squigglies tourist pass with the semicolon money.
Right, yeah. Otherwise, do I need to check another condition?
No.
No, I don't, do I? And what would I say here? Adventure?
Yeah, the adventurer pass.
Why is it not auto typing? Come on. Autocomplete, please. And I think it's because I missed the $sign there. There we go. You do get used to that autocomplete. When it's not working for you, you strive to get it back, basically. There we go. And we need a closing curly. I don't like the curlies in that format, honestly. All right, are we ready to test this? Yeah, I think so. Let's try it. All right. I know that some of you are still copying the code, so there's the bottom two functions. And I don't know if you guys know this trick. You can always screenshot it too. Then comes the question, how do you do a screenshot?
Yeah, how do you do a screenshot?
Well, believe it or not, James, I get a lot of students that take out their phones and take a picture of the screen.
Yeah, usually I do that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can do screenshots on your phone too if you know the right key combos or have the right software installed. But on a Windows machine, there's a few different ways to do it. But my favorite way is you just go to the start menu and type snip for the snipping tool. And then you just click new, and then you just go like that.
There's a nice little free program called GreenShot that I like. It does the region thing, and you can map it to your print screen button too, and it just automatically fires up the region capture. It's pretty nice.
Right. You can
never
you can hit that print screen button, and I've always forget if I have to like shift it or not, right? And that invokes the tool automatically as well. I'm not using that ever as a go-to though, but if you're okay, so I think it matters if you're on Windows 10 or 11. I know on 11, if you hit print screen, it'll just bring up the snipping tool. There's also a keystroke combo, and I always forget what it is. There's other like third-party pieces of software like Snagit. And there's actually many more that can do it. It's not really that hard to do. If you're on a Mac, there's depending on which OS you're running, it's probably called Screenshot, I think, if I remember right, Megan. And if you're on an older Mac with like an Intel chip, the tool's called Grab. But it's basically the same tool. And those are just built into the operating system. In the old days with Windows, if you hit print screen, it would just capture the whole screen. And sometimes that's okay, sometimes it's not. But most of the time when you do screenshots, you just want to grab a little something, right? So I like the snipping tool, but now that I hit the print screen button, it is a little bit easier actually, now that I kind of do that. My issue with it is, where did that just go? Yeah, and the answer is, it went into my copy paste buffer. So if I bring up Microsoft Word or something, I think I can paste it. Right. With the snipping tool, right, you bring the tool up and you have a little interface to work with. And it's kind of interesting, but you can take an image. You can also capture video with it. I don't think a lot of people know that. So like you could screen capture me coding the whole thing if you wanted, but remember, I'm going to post the video anyhow, so you still have it. But I like this because you can do that, and then after you capture it, you can look at it and you can draw on it, right? And then you copy it, save it, whatever, edit it more if you want. So that's usually my go-to. All right. I think we want to run this, right? Isn't that kind of our grand point here? Let's try the sample values. So I'm going to go back and look at what those are, which was 5 and 60. Is that the same output? Pretty much. All right. One little difference I'm seeing is it'd probably be good to have a blank line before this line and a blank line before this one. That's a pretty easy fix if you want to do that. So I could put a \n here, and then I could put in a \n here. I'll run it again. Let's try different values though this time. I'll be traveling for 14 days, and I don't know how much do really people talk on the phone these days. It depends on the person, I guess. Right?
Only you get free nights.
All about texting.
Yeah, it's really more about data and texting. Absolutely.
Free
Like
nights and weekends.
Yeah, how many shows on Netflix can I binge? And think about this: you're traveling. Is that really what you're doing? You're talking on the phone, texting, and watching Netflix. Well, when you're on the plane, maybe. Yeah. All right. I think this is good. Hey, notice. Hey, check it out.
Yeah, we got a match.
We got a match, and it went for the tourist pass. Okay. So okay, that's a good example. That was accidental, by the way. So why did the tourist pass hit? Because that was, yeah. Well, because it hit first. So these statements were true, so it worked. And truly, I mean, it's the same cost. What does it matter? Right?
I think.
Yeah, same cost. Okay, so let's call this a lab, and let's wrap the video.